Thor, status.
The girl tried to warp my mind. Take special care. I doubt a human can keep her at bay. Fortunately, I am mighty.
Just want to make a quick video before the next episode of WandaVision comes out. We're up to episode 7. I'm still saying don't pay for Disney Plus, especially after the way they've been treating Gina Carano. But quite honestly, the entire money scheme, everything you're paying for, virtually everything, was on Netflix or another program, another service, streaming service before they opened up. Just don't pay for them. Eventually, maybe they'll come around to being a company I think is worth paying. WandaVision is a great show. Sadly, it is a Disney production, but eventually, if they keep it up, I will participate in rewarding them for good behavior, which is not canceling people, etc. But this video is not about all that. This video is a little bit of guesswork. Unlike Doomcock, I'm not going to talk about sources that I have. I'm just going to say what I think is going to happen. I think that this show has been excellent at putting together visual themes along with themes in the storyline, character development. When I analyze shows like this, I look at the original material, but then I also look at the company, even the business point of view of where they're going. So the first thing I'm going to say is in episode 8, I predict that they're going to show the background of by the way, spoilers. They're going to show the background of Agatha, the neighbor. They're going to show that she was burned at the stake. So they're going to show the continuing theme, which is with Vision. In a recent episode, he talked about how, oh, so you're telling me I was created for Stark Enterprises as their artificial intelligence to run their business. And then I was turned into a machine for, destruction by Ultron. And then I was turned to the service of the Avengers to protect people. And then I was being chased around because of everyone wanting to get their hands on the Mind Stone in my head. So he never really was able to live his own life. And for Vision, even if he's not the real version, we'll assume he is somehow, he's developing a sense that he needs to live his own life. Wanda has the same thing going on. She was raised since she was a child, in a harsh environment, probably, if going by the comic books, not even with her real parents, or maybe not with her real parents.
You lost your parents in the bombings. I've seen the records.
The records are not the picture.
No. Please.
We're 10 years old, having dinner, the 4 of us. And the first shell hits 2 floors below. It makes a hole in the floor. It's big. Our parents go in. The whole building starts coming apart. I grab her, roll under the bed, and the second shell hits, but it doesn't go off. It just sits there in the rubble, 3 feet from our faces.
Something else that they're going to, I think, reveal, she was imbued with chaos magic. I'm going to get to that in a second. But then she got older. She was used by Strucker and Hydra. Then she was used by Ultron. Then she was in the service of the Avengers, caught in the middle of a civil war. And then she was trying to save Vision. And she never really lets go of her shit, so to speak. And this is the theme of the show. The character who's really bringing about this, the counterexample, would be Rambeau. She initially enters with a lot of baggage. And as she goes through this field, she symbolically shows all these different times in her life and versions of herself until she snaps it together and just accepts her destiny and moves forward. She can't control everything. She doesn't need to control everything. She's just going to move forward and be who she is. And this, I think, is the theme of the show. And I think they're doing a very good job at it. Skip back to Agatha. I think the reason they're going to show her in the past is that she had a rough upbringing. She turned to witchcraft, some kind of dark magic in order to gain power. Then because of that, she was burned at the stake. I think to save herself, she'll sell her soul to the devil. But I don't think it's going to be Mephisto. I think it's actually going to be another character more obscure in Marvel Comics who isn't actually the devil. He's the first dark magician. He was an elder god who basically went crazy, was banished like all the other gods to their own dimensions. So he can't come to our dimension unless he finds a way to break through. Now his name is Chthon. Yes, Chthon is his name. I had never heard of him before, but some comic book geeks have been very good at outlining this. In the comics, he gave Wanda her chaos magic as a baby when she was born. And his magical ability as a god is his power recreates reality at his will. And so where many people think that what she is doing comes from the reality stone, I think it actually is going to go back to this guy. Now, Mephisto might be behind him as a bigger enemy for this arc in the Marvel Universe, but I think he's the guy that's going to be behind this immediately. And so I think after showing this, I think that Agatha, who shows concern over the twins in the scene before they vanish, I think she's going to realize that she too is being controlled because she sold her soul, which is why the one son looks at her and says, "You're quiet on the inside." I don't think she has a soul of her own. And I think she's probably going to realize what a horrible thing she's done. And that is what's going to finally bring about the realization by Wanda that something terrible has happened to her twins. And she will snap. I think that's going to come at the end of episode 8. Episode 9 is going to be the fallout of her completely snapping and things being rewritten and sort of potential horrors coming to light. And eventually more powerful beings coming in to deal with it, including Doctor Strange, I think, might show up. But someone definitely will. So there's my prediction. I think that it's great because people have now been misled to think it's Mephisto. And they've been misled at every stage. Every couple episodes makes the fans rightly think they're going to go one way, and then they go another. From a business point of view, I do think it's a good idea to open up Dimensions as an alternative to doing a bunch of origin stories again that we've seen again and again for their new properties from Fox. They didn't do it with Spider-Man when they started working with Sony. And I predict that they're probably going to follow the advice I had when they first announced that they were going to purchase them. I remember even leaving the comment for Rob in his video when he was talking about what he would want to see over at Comics Explained when they first announced that they were thinking about it. I want the Fantastic Four to have existed in the background. Instead of being celebrities, they were in secret. They can do kinds of flashbacks for Reed Richards having advised people at key moments in the past that you didn't know he was there. They can reveal them later. People love that stuff. And then also the X-Men should be kind of a reverse House of M, which it seems to be what they're doing. I think they should. As these holes in the realities open up, the only challenge will be to make sure it still makes sense to the audience. The average audience member doesn't go through comic books. So far, so good. I think that the themes of this show are also going to eventually, I think what they'll do is just explain outright that the Infinity Stones were unique in that they were the 6 aspects, key aspects of the universe from the beginning of time. And what they were is they were concentrated points in it that you could take it and use it with the Infinity Gauntlet. Those have been destroyed, but the aspects themselves are still in the universe. So where you see color-coded powers being used, I think they're gonna move now more into the realm of thematic between the characters and what's going on, rather than just the Infinity Stones themselves. It's a good starting point, and it's also a good way to not have to go right back to the Infinity Wars over these stones if they show up again. But you could do it again in the future if you want to. And I think it's also going to play into everything else they've been lining up with Loki and future projects. Anyways, that's my thought. What do you think?
You're a man looking at the world through a keyhole, and you've spent your whole life trying to widen that keyhole, to see more, to know more. And now, on hearing that it can be widened in ways you can't imagine, you reject the possibility.
No, I reject it because I do not believe in fairy tales about chakras or energy or the power of belief. There is no such thing as spirit. We are made of matter and nothing more. You're just another tiny, momentary speck within an indifferent universe.
You think too little of yourself.
Oh, you think you see through me, do you? Well, you don't. But I see through you! What did you just do to me?